Therapist perception.
Bachelorette.
It's Reactivity TV time.
Yes. And I was having a lot of reactions in this week's episodes. You ready to get into it?
Yeah.
So I take a big deep breath. Yeah. It's been a journey.
Yeah.
I have it written somewhere what episodes these are. It might be like episodes 11 and 12.
That's what yeah.
But it's been a while, and things at Paradise are like sort of winding down in a way.
But heating up.
Yes. The drama ensues. So yeah, I mean, next week is the last week of Bachelor in Paradise. So what we anticipated would happen this week or these weeks would be kind of having those conversations around like what happens next and all of that stuff, and about like the status of relationships. And we got to see some of that, but what stuck out to you as a moment for the week?
So you're right. Lots of things are brewing. And what had stuck out to me, my moment, was the conversation between Logan and Kate, night one of this week. When they were discussing the status of their relationship. He was really upset about what had happened at the rose ceremony. And so he was trying to express that to her. And she then, I'll put it in quotes, apologized. And then followed it with but. So I chose this as my moment because this often happens in life, in relationships, certainly in couples work. And it's not an apology. It's not a real apology.
Why do you say that?
Anything that follows the but, anything that preceded the but is diminished after whatever happens in the but, because after what happens in the but is the defensiveness, is the explanation, the justification, all of the what's going on for me. And the I'm sorry is I'm sorry for what happened, or I'm sorry for what I did. But, and then as soon as you lean into that but, none of the I'm sorry mattered anymore, because your partner's going to respond to everything else that happened after that. They're not going to feel validated. They're not going to feel heard. They're not going to feel understood. And that happened back and forth with them. So just a great explanation of what not to do.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. There's another a very iconic TV show, Non-Reality, where someone's apologizing in that way. I'm sorry, but, and one of the main characters says, anything before but is bullshit.
Yes.
And it's so true, because as you're saying, that the but completely invalidates everything said before. And even in therapy, we encourage our clients to remove but from their vocabulary and replace it with and, as a way to like leave room for both, right? Like, I'm sorry that I hurt your feelings, and I was also like having a really hard time at the same time. It leaves room for both people to have an emotional experience at once, but it makes it feel like it's one or the other. It's you or it's me.
Right.
And it's me.
Right. Well, and so often people are quick to get to their own experience, which I get it. You're feeling your feelings and you're having your own experience, and you're right. There's room for it. But sometimes there's not room for it yet. Leave a little more room for the validation, leave a little more room for the apology, leave a little more space for the other person so that they can then open themselves up to what's going on for you.
Right. Well, immediately with the but, then I imagine it makes it really hard for the person who's being quote unquote apologized to, like makes it challenging for them to actually hear what you're going to say. It like puts up the defenses right away.
Yeah. They're just going to jump right back into, you didn't hear me. This is this. And yeah, they're not going to open themselves up.
Yes. No, really great great moment. It's harder than it seems to kind of give a good, like authentic, validating apology. Mm-hmm. And I think part of the reason is because people enter into apologies maybe feeling like they do need to be on the defensive, or that they're having some sort of feelings about their behavior. And so giving an apology, taking responsibility for what you did and how it impacted someone else is really vulnerable. And so I think that's why the but is a source of like self-protection, but it does so much harm and erosion to the relationship.
Mm-hmm. And I thought that Logan did such a good job of explaining how he felt hurt. Mm-hmm. And then it wasn't seen. And
Listen, no one is more shocked than me that I'm coming away from Bachelor in Paradise a Logan fan.
A little bit more of a Logan fan than before.
Yeah. I find him to be pretty articulate and expressive when it comes to his feelings. Mm-hmm. But maybe I can segue to my moment is, I guess it's the dynamic between Kate and Logan, and Kate, a central theme to their conversation was Logan saying, essentially, the way that you talk to me makes me feel like you're talking down to me, or that you're criticizing me. And I don't really like that, or that doesn't make me really feel like appreciated or cared for, or whatever, is essentially what he was saying. And she was saying, like, I don't know what you're talking about. I've never been critical of you, which we as viewers know is incorrect. What we've seen her do pretty consistently is be very critical of things that, well, first and foremost, you cannot control how old he is. Mm-hmm. And that continues to be a factor for her in likening him to a child because he's 26.
Right.
And
his job, his car,
right. What gym memberships he can afford or not. All of that kind of stuff. And I think what I'm kind of looking at with both of them is I'm trying to like be really curious about what keeps them in this relationship, because he on the one hand is saying the way that you treat me and the way that you view me makes me feel really bad about myself and about just makes me feel really bad. And she's saying to everyone, I mean, including him, this, like, he's not doing what I need him to do in order for me to feel like my needs are getting met or make me feel desired and wanted. And I guess at this point, this has been such an ongoing conversation, essentially since they began, that I'm trying to understand what keeps them together. Because it seems like they're both feeling deeply unsatisfied and very unheard in the relationship. And it could be, I want to give them both the benefit of the doubt. Perhaps they have different love languages, maybe different ways of expressing that they care about the other. I think maybe that's Logan's challenge is, for me, I have no reason to believe that he's not totally into Kate. Like, all we hear him say is how much of a babe she is and how much he's into her. And yet something that he's doing or saying isn't resonating with Kate. And that does happen in relationships, that the way that we communicate our affection or a desire for someone might not match with what they're hearing. But the other part of me is a little bit more inclined to think that they are really not compatible, because what they're each wanting from a relationship doesn't seem to be fulfilled. And I think what feels frustrating for me about watching Kate kind of navigate through this is it is totally okay to have things that you want from a partner or want them to do, or how you might want them to be in terms of a role of a partner, what you want that to look like. But at this point, she is now choosing this. Like, it's one thing to say, I need to see more from you. More what? I don't know. I don't know that she's really been clear. But at this point, she's now choosing to remain in a relationship and in a dynamic that does not serve her. And so the onus is also now on her to remove herself from it if she's so deeply unsatisfied.
Right. Well, and this I have a question for you about staying in relationships when maybe it's not the right fit anymore, or there are so many things missing. But also when it comes to what she's looking for and what she's not getting, the part that's unclear to me and seems probably unclear to Logan is like, when is she leaving room for him to meet some of these expectations too? And she kept referring to, I didn't want you to let me go on that date. He's like, okay, well, I know that now. And that's a whole other thing. But like, we can't go back and change that. So he's saying, he explained himself, and he has that information to move forward to then put whatever it is you're looking for into practice potentially. But like, if there's no timeline, if there's no like actual room for that to happen, then like, you're not actually waiting for him to do anything about it. You're just saying that you want something to change, but not allowing the grace and the space to have that happen. Right. Whereas she kept harping on the fact that I'm a quote unquote completely different person now, aka a day later. And so if you can change that drastically, then how can you not extend the same courtesy to your partner if you're really invested in making it work? Or sometimes people don't change as drastically, and it most of the time takes a long time. Yes, that's more so reasonable. How much like I just don't understand what she was actually waiting to see, or like not waiting to see. Like she just wanted it to be already. Yeah. Yes. But that's the other piece of it, is like this entire season, we've been hearing this theme of, I want to be fought for, I want to be chosen, I want to be swept off my feet. Those were just 3 lines that we heard this episode in particular on repeat. And again, there's a balance between, yeah, that's great if that's what you want. And if you are with someone that is continually not doing that, at a certain point, are you not turned off? Are you not no longer attracted to this person or wanting to be with this person? You have to have enough self-respect to say, okay, this person clearly can't give me what I want and I need to move on. Right. And that's where it kind of feels cruel for her to stay in this relationship with someone that she knows cannot give her what she wants. Why continue to try? And it's not even try. It's just be in it. Right. Sorry. No, that's okay. That was the question I was going to ask you, is what do you think keeps people in relationships that are no longer working for them? I mean, a lot of things. I think it's hope that it can change. I mean, who doesn't love a good project? But I think it's like, particularly if you've been in a relationship where there are good times, or there have been good times, I think it's always kind of that idea that like, oh, but like things can be so good. They've been so good. And they're only leaning on a couple of dates to say like, yeah, things have been so good. Like they were at one time. Whereas in longer term relationships, there's a little more substance and foundation to kind of pull from. Yeah. So I think that is often a thing, is like, but the good times are so good. And I know we talked about this last week with Erin and Genevieve, I believe, and that this roller coaster. And I think that's also why people stay in relationships. Just again, physiologically, what happens to us when there are high highs and low lows, that feeling is actually pretty addictive, because the dopamine spike that you get after particularly when you're in a low spot, feels really, really good. And so I could see like when Logan and Kate come back together and they're making out and having a great time. Yeah, that's going to feel great, especially in comparison to this really crappy time when they're navigating through a conflict. We did not talk about Erin and Genevieve this week, so I'm going to give us a pat on the back for that. We avoided it. We did. But there was an interaction between them that it was just so iconically them, which I'll just say that. That's all we can say. And then, next week we'll get into the finale and see if engagements happen. Do you have any
do you think people will actually get engaged?
Oh yeah.
You do? How many? How many are you thinking?
Ooh, we should have a bet. Well, definitely one is happening. That's the only
the sure one
that I can think of at the moment.
Yeah, I think there's
like 3.
Oh, okay. Whoa.
What were you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say, yeah, I feel confident in one. And then I'm gonna go with 2.
Okay.
I'm gonna go 2. I think there will be a couple that decides to leave and remain together.
Mm-hmm.
Conversely, how many breakups do you think we're gonna see?
How many couples are there total?
There's like a zillion people on the beach. It feels like I'm just gonna go with like 8 couples. Let's go with that.
3 engagements, 2 togethers, and 3 breakups.
Okay.
Was that the right amount?
I just trying to.
Maybe I was an extra.
I kind of feel like it's going to be a bloodbath. Because none of the relationships really feel solid enough to even decide, like, let's leave together. Like, there's maybe like 2 that I feel like could be.
Yeah.
But I'm sort of hoping that there are a lot of breakups because there's
no reason for them to stay together anymore.
No. We'll see.
There's nothing that keeps them going beyond paradise.
Okay. So you're saying 3 engagements. I'm saying 2.
Yeah.
All right.
3 engagements, 1 short-lived.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess we'll see what happens next week. We'll see if one of us is right.
Yeah.
Okay. So next week.
What do I win?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay. The loser has, this isn't that juicy, but the loser has to do whatever the other person gives them off the self-care menu.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay. That's nice.
That's such a nice thing to say.
That's such a nice loser prize. And we both hate to lose. That makes it a little less harsh.
Wonderful.
Okay. It's a bet.
Okay.
Shaking on it. All right. Well, until next week, we'll see if I'm right.
Or I'm right.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.